What is irresponsible business and why is it important? Basically, irresponsible business is choosing money over people, the society, the law, not taking into account the value of others. Taking reckless actions, not providing your employees with their basic rights, and harming the environment and wildlife. To operate responsibly along with the company's own interest, a company should take into account the general public interest, which is quite important in the 21st century. They have to implement the code of ethics in a proper way within an organization and take serious actions against those who break them. They are obligated to have a proper organizational culture. ExxonMobil is the world's largest private oil company. It engages in oil and gas exploration, production, supply, transportation, and marketing worldwide. Exxon is one of the most powerful companies in the world, not only financially, but also because of the relationship they have with politicians worldwide. Exxon is also known as a big petrochemical producer. ExxonMobil is known in the industry for being arrogant. That is because the actions they take in their organization. Exxon recorded a breaking profit of 14 billion through July to September. In fact, Exxon has a higher GDP than Thailand, Greece, Finland, Singapore, and Portugal. Statistics show that they are wealthier than 150 countries. Oil companies that are involved have a huge ethical problem with the environmental aspect. The oil tanker Exxon Valdez crashed in Bly Reef on 24th March 1989. 11 million gallons of crude oil was spilled into waters of Alaska's Prince William Sound. More than 1,300 miles of beaches was damaged. The Exxon Valdez incident killed approximately 300,000 birds and waterfowls, 2,600 otters, and destroyed many other species. Since the size of the spill, its remote location, and the way to access the contaminated area is very difficult, all of this complicated the cleanup work. They tried many methods such as burning, mechanical cleanup, and the chemical dispersant to clean up the spill. Even though 25 years passed, this toxic oil that has been spilled still pollutes the beaches and destroys the ecosystem along the Gulf of Alaska. The biological change that was damaged, Pacific herring, once was a vibrant commercial fishery 25 years ago. It's one of the keystone species which feeds more than 40 species like bald eagles, brown bears, seals, and so on. All of them are not recovering. The oil spill did harm to the people nearby. The people who was cleaning the oil spill more or less will be affected physically. It would increase the risk of health issues, including acute toxicity and physical injuries. For children, however, the oil spill is likely to increase the risks associated with stress and anxiety in children's environment. Children are dependent. Due to stages of physical and psychological development, children cannot always identify or choose when to avoid something harmful in their environment. Children are highly at risk to short and long-term stress. Any obligations must necessarily be a two-way street. The main focal point of strategic management is on the responsibilities of the corporation, but a relationship must involve exchange. If Exxon has a social responsibility for its stakeholders, then these stakeholders have responsibility for Exxon. This is not to say, for example, that the people of Prince William Sound are required to help Exxon make a profit. The stakeholder relationship is ethical, rather than financial in nature. Rather, just as Exxon was remiss in identifying its stakeholder groups before the Valdez disaster, these groups also need to realize that they were stakeholders in Exxon. There's such a big oil spill and the irresponsibility of Exxon in cleaning that up, it is quite obvious that there will be toxic oil in that area.
The job of cleaning up the oil from both the sea and the affected land areas will be massive, prolonged, and frustrating. Nothing we can do will totally resolve this problem in the short term. Rather, we must be prepared for a long, sustained effort.
25 years after the incident, in 2014, a team from National Geography went to discover if there is still oil in that area and if the wildlife is still getting affected by it. As you can see, there are hundreds of fishes swimming in this area, fishes that humans and other animals eat, and they are swimming over the area where the team believes oil still exists. Later that night, when the water level decreases, they found out that there is still oil that exists in that area, and all the fishes were swimming in this exact area. How would you like to eat a fish that has been swimming in such a toxic oil? The second species that is affected by this incident is killer whales. Moreover, killer whales were and still are the victim of this toxic oil. Craig Matkin, investigator of North Gulf Ocean Society, still believes that killer whales are still suffering from the effects of the oil spill. More than 9 died in the day the oil spill happened. The ones that survived are still suffering.
Pretty seriously to document the population, and Exxon basically denied there was much of an effect on anything at the beginning. However, just the data was so strong, and the fact that we could determine who was born and died in these groups, and they had a very hard time arguing with the evidence we had.
Through his research, Craig and his team determined that a pod of whales caught up in the spill, known as the Chugach transients, have their own unique language and gene pool. And since the spill, they have not reproduced.
In conclusion, this disaster happened because of the bad organizational culture in Exxon. The captain, who was in charge of the ship in the morning the disaster happened, was drunk. He was alerted by one of the personnel that there is a leak, but he ignored what he said. As mentioned before, Exxon is known for being careless in the industry. When you are carrying a big amount of oil, you should be very careful. Even after the oil spill, Exxon did not cooperate responsibly for cleaning the area. All the companies that are in the oil industry or any other industry which deals with toxic and harmful chemicals should be very careful and fully prepared for accidents like that. They should make sure that the person in charge is responsible, and if something like this happens, they should be ready for it.